Can you first introduce yourself?
My name is Zarko Nastoski. I'm a journalist. I have worked on various subjects in journalism, in television and online for the past 15 years.
You're an independent journalist here in Macedonia.
Yes, I'm an independent journalist. I work for a company called Kamer. It is a young company, practically a production team made out of colleagues of mine. We used to think and talk about that for 15 years to actually start and do this on our own, and now we've started.
It's difficult to make a living as an independent journalism here, because I hear a lot of stories about journalism who are from the party.
There are a lot of journalists that chose to continue working for the Macedonian media outlets, even though some of them have clearly began to report and in a way that is not all right according to journalist standard, because many of the journalists here were forced to do that. They had to continue working because there's very little work for independent journalists. Going freelance in Macedonia is very difficult because probably it's difficult everywhere, but it is especially difficult here as the chances to get any work if you're independent journalists are really, really small. So we have to struggle for funding, we have to struggle for everything, but still we are trying to do that and come out with products that are as journalistically and filmically sound, to be at a certain high level.
Is that the reason why you did not choose to work for the Macedonian media who are from the party? You want to be independent?
That is the main reason, the biggest reason. Also, working for someone in Macedonia, whether it doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter if it's journalism or something else. It's very difficult because basic workers' rights are not really guaranteed, and it's difficult. Salaries are really, really small. Some of the reasons why we chose to go freelance.
And now you made a documentary series about?
A series of 6 documentary episodes, 15-minute long short documentaries that are about political and social subjects, issues in Macedonia, and mainly directed toward the Macedonian public, but also some of the episodes they hold a larger point and can be, of course, they have a wider public.
Give me a subject, an example.
So before the elections in December, we made 2 or 3 episodes concerning political subjects, issues as unfulfilled promises by politicians. Also, we made a documentary about the situation in journalism, which was where we interviewed colleagues, people who used to work or still work for Macedonian media, and there we discussed the state of Macedonian journalism and what can be done to get out of this situation, because there's the situation in journalism in Macedonia is pretty much a disaster, because on the last list of Reporters Without Borders, I think it's below 150th place in the world, which puts us, we're between Sudan and Colombia, something like that. And we thought that this is an issue which should dedicate actually the first episode of the series. But in later series, a lot of different subjects. Actually, we had subjects as wide as one of the episodes is about the air pollution in Skopje, and another episode is about the problem with drinking water in a small community of like a little village of 300 people. So we tend to try and balance between the subjects that concern a lot of people and those that concern a small group of people, but they are still important as they picture the whole situation in the country.
Can you sell those documentaries? Will it be broadcasted here in Macedonia?
It is very difficult to find. First, you have to know something about the media atmosphere in Macedonia. According to polls, and research, Macedonia is one of the countries in Europe where television is still the number one source of information for people. So television is therefore very important for anyone who works in media here and who may make something like this. If you make documentaries, of course you will want some of the television stations to broadcast them. We encountered some very unusual things when we started to search for a television station that would broadcast it. First, most of the television stations are under government control, which means they would never broadcast something that says even a little something critical about the current government. So we were only left for two stations. One of them asked us for money, asked for us to pay them and for them to broadcast it. Luckily, the other television station where our documentaries will be aired did not ask for money, and we are not asking for money also right now because those documentaries have already been paid through another form of funding. Generally speaking, the situation is pretty difficult, and you're lucky if you can succeed in finding a television station that would actually broadcast it.
And will this situation change in a little while?
The political atmosphere for the change, I think, will arrive pretty soon. But the whole system that's worked like this for years and decades, will be very difficult to change. And I don't see myself as an optimist regarding any situation with journalism in Macedonia, because those processes took time to dissolve to come to this point. Of course, they will take time to come back to normal. It's years and decades maybe.